Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, regardless of where you are. It's always a great time to talk about the gospel and especially enlightened by Spiritism. Today, we're going to review together chapter 50 of the book Our Daily Bread, which is entitled Preserve Yourself. Before we begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Kardec Radio for bringing to all of us different conversations, different programs, just like this one. Kardec Radio is present in several platforms of social media, including the X platform. The interesting thing about the X platform is that you can post your questions, your comments in the platform, and the staff from Kardec Radio will review those and reply. So it's become creates this interactivity that is so important. Before we begin our conversation, let's take this moment right now to close our eyes in prayer and to thank God for all the opportunities for reflection, for all those moments when we can stop for a little bit, when we can detach ourselves from our busy lives and connect with the spiritual world. We are thankful for all the challenges that we receive because those make us also reflect and ponder on those aspects that we need to improve on. And also, we want to thank God for the joyful moments because they provide us a very good respite from any of our struggles. May God's love be with us always. So, then we're going to be talking about chapter 50 of the book, Our Daily Bread. It's called Preserve Yourself. And it's based on John chapter 8, verse 11, and which basically reads, Go and sin no more. So it is associated with the parable of the adulterous woman. She had this particular lady had been caught in adultery and she was about to be stoned. Jesus at the moment intervenes, and what he answers is very clever. He basically says, he of course he could not tell those individuals around the woman who were mostly men. He could not tell them because that not to do it because it would have been against the law, and he would have compromised himself by saying so. So what he does, he simply states, "Whoever is without sin, cast the first stone." And the parable goes that all the individuals who were there, they started leaving one by one, starting with the older individuals. Of course, the older individuals had been for the longest time here, reincarnated on Earth. They had more opportunities to sin more and make more mistakes until he was alone with the woman, and he tells her, and she asks, "Hey, you don't accuse me?" He says, "No." He asks her, "Where are your accusers?" And she indicates that they had left. And she said, and Jesus said, "Well, I do not accuse you." But then he reminds her, he says, "Go and sin no more." So again, do not ring side, do not pursue again this path, do not stay on the wrong path again, do not continue, to not make the same mistakes over and over again, or avoid making the same mistakes. And Emmanuel has a very interesting explanation about that because we are given so many teachings, so many opportunities, and for one reason or another, we tend to stay put, to insist on our ways, insist on our wrong ways. And let me just read some points that he makes here. He indicates that the value of the seed that you do not help may be lost. So he's talking about a seed, right? So if I do not plant a seed, if I do not, even if I plant a seed, if I do not take good care of the seed, it's not going to grow. It's not going to sprout. He indicates here the tender tree that you do not protect remains exposed to destruction. The spring that you do not support may dry up. The water that you do not distribute forms swamps. So again, he's reminding us to take care of everything that is given to us: a seed, a little tree that needs protection, a spring, a small spring of water that you got to take care of, otherwise it might just dry up. And the water that you don't give, so the stagnant water, it might turn into a swamp. It might get uh, um, colonies of bacteria and all the microorganisms might grow in that particular water, in this case, which is a benefit that is provided to us, but we're not utilizing, we're not distributing. And he continues here: the unused fruit rots. Of course, fruits that we do not consume, we do not give away, they do go to waste. The good earth that you do not defend is suffocated by useless weeds. The hoe that you do not use creates rust. The flowers that you do not cultivate may not repeat themselves. So again, he keeps reminding us that the good earth that you do not cultivate, that you do not clean, yes, it's going to be filled with of weeds. That the weeds are going to take over. The hoe, a tool that you do not use, of course, is going to go to waste. Flowers here that we do not cultivate, again, we do not take care of. They don't they die as well. They wither. And he continues here with this analogy in the same line of thought, indicating that the friend that you do not keep flees from your path, right? So those good friends of ours that we do not, again, those friendships that we do not nourish, I mean, they go away. And finally, he indicates that the medication that you do not respect in dosage and appropriate timing does not benefit your organic field. So, what good would it be for us to have the needed medication for an ailment if we're not taking either in the correct dosage and in the required times of the day? So, it would not provide the necessary effect. Actually, we may actually provide, there's a risk of us to incur into a intoxication for an overuse, for instance, of a medication. So we see here all those good benefits that are provided to us, that God provides to us in our lives, and those are all very simple examples, all the way to a tiny seed, to a to medicine, and friendships. So all those things we need to take care of, we need to nourish. And he continues here, indicating that so it is with the divine grace. If you do not keep the favor from above, respecting it within yourself, if you do not use the elevated knowledge that you receive for the benefit of your own happiness, if you do not value the contribution that comes to you from above, the dedication of spiritual messengers will not help you. So this is quite interesting because he is reminding us here that we receive the grace, we receive the favors, we receive the favors from above, and that come to us in so different ways. They come to us through the love that we receive from our friends, through the teachings that are provided to us, spiritual teachings. And those are you can call those divine graces. Those are benefits. But again, what is it that you're gonna do with that? So, interesting that he reminds us that you gotta above respecting it within yourself. So you gotta respect those within yourselves. Those are given to you for you to internalize and be part of the way you act, the way you think, and also the way you feel, and the way that you interact with the world as well. And again, but and also the elevated knowledge that we're receiving. So what's the point to have such elevated knowledge if we're not doing our part, if we're not doing good with what we receive, and um, we're not here to be miserable on earth. Of course, here on earth we have so many challenges, but nobody's born to fail. We're all born to be successful. Jesus told us that his burden is light, meaning that yes, we're gonna go there. There are burdens here on earth. There are troublesome times, but again, nobody's here to be unhappy, and nobody's here to fail. So these opportunities that and different individuals, each one of us has different opportunities and different blessings and different the teachings they come to us in different ways. But again, it's up to us to make those to turn those into productive. productive to us, to ensure our own happiness, and also productive for others and supporting others as well. And then he continues his explanation in the same paragraph. In vain, they will improvise miracles of love and patience in solving your problems, because without the adherence of your will to the regenerative program, all saving measures will be rendered useless. So we receive miracles all the time, of course. We can always think, hey, we envision a miracle as something extraordinary that is happening. But life is extraordinary. And the fact that we are alive, the fact that we're breathing here, that we have given an opportunity to reincarnate, to come back to Earth and to continue our journey, it's a miracle. It's a blessing, something amazing. And the miracle of our friendships, of our family, the love that we receive from our parents, grandparents, from our siblings, and from our sons and daughters, and in some cases grandchildren as well. Everything is a miracle. Everything's such a great blessing that we have. The blessing to have the health. And of course, sometimes our tribulations, we do not see those as blessings, but those are blessings as well, because they are there to teach us lessons. So if we're going through illness, if we are going through loneliness, and if we are in contact with those who regard themselves as our enemies, so all those circumstances, as hard as they might be and troublesome, they are blessings as well. They provide us a chance for us to become a better version of ourselves. But again, so and those provide miracles to us. So how many times they change our point of view? How many times they make us, you know, how many times they make us stronger people, right? How many times they make us wiser people? How many times they give us happiness, joy? So all those great things. So in Emmanuel calls them miracles of love and patience, and also how our problems are solved. And those could be material problems, those could be emotional problems, and all kinds of situations that we might go through. But the interesting thing is that we always survive. Uh, no matter, yeah, the fact that we are here, and as immortal souls, we survived so many different circumstances in this life. And we not only that, we survived several difficult circumstances from previous lives as well. And we're still here. And believe it or not, although we're not perfect, but we are on the way. We're on our way to perfection. We're far away still. We're a long ways to go. We have a long ways to go, but we're each day we're getting closer to perfection. So this is amazing. Every single problem we had, one way or another, we were able to overcome them, and we're still here. So think about those miracles. We can think about all the help, the assistance from our spiritual friends, and all the effort as well that we've put in. So, but what's the point in us going through all of this? But if we're not party, Emmanuel defines here the regenerative program. So we're trying to regenerate ourselves, to improve ourselves. So what happens, if you go to school and there's a particular lesson that you don't learn, what happens is that we're gonna have to repeat the lesson, unfortunately. So, unfortunately, or that's the way it goes. And if we go through experiences and we do not learn from those experiences, then we're going to go through different, or either similar experience or different experience that are going to, again, reinforce the learning and help us assimilate the lesson. So Emmanuel finalizes here, remind us again, he goes back to the parable and paraphrases, go and sin no more. So he clarifies here that Jesus' teaching is sufficient and expressive. I kind of like the way he put this here. It is sufficient. It is complete. It's well rounded. It covers all bases, right? So again, if you see no more, If you proceed but you see no more, that means that that's it. You've learned your lesson. And he calls sufficient, of course, is complete, self-encompassing, is all-encompassing, and also is expressive because it communicates to us the need for us to improve ourselves. It's it's not enough for us to go through a difficult situation. And in the gospel according to Spiritism, most of the times we create our own situations, either by actions here that we take in our current life here on earth, and also our actions that we've taken in previous lives. So we are, for the most part, we create our own situations, our own problems. And but what's the point for us to go through those and do not learn what the experience has to teach us? So because then what happens again, that means that you're going to have to repeat, you have to go through the experience, the same or very similar, or another experience, but again, doesn't matter, you have to go through the teaching again, so that, like Jesus mentioned, you see no more, you do not reincur into the same mistakes. Emmanuel continues here indicating that the divine physician provides the cure. But if we do not preserve it within ourselves, no one can predict the extent and consequences of the new imbalances that will besiege our unwatchfulness. So let's dissect here. So the divine physician provides the cure. So again, God provides us the cure. He provides us through, we go through experiences, and those experiences are supposed to cure us, are supposed to put us in a better situation. But again, there is the other side of the deal, because we have to preserve it within ourselves. We have to internalize the lesson that is given to us. And no one can predict the extent and consequences of new imbalances, meaning you never know if after going through a situation and overcoming a situation, and I'm talking here in moral terms, if I do not overcome, if I do not learn the lessons, then that means I'm not going to have to go through experiences again to learn it again. So create new imbalances. So the universe is the laws of the universe. There are several laws in the universe, and the famous law of physics that was brought to us by Newton indicates that for every action there is a reaction. So, but that's also part of the law of cause and effect that we see in the universe. God being just, He he permits, or I shouldn't say permits, it is part of the law that if we create situations, negative situations, then there we suffer the consequences. We have to deal with the consequences as well. And if I initially go through circumstances that I've created to myself, and if I do not learn the lesson, that means that now I'm going to again continue to receive the consequences of my further actions. And there's no way to predict now what's going to happen. I was blessed enough to go through a previous situation, and with God's support, the support from my spiritual friends as well, and also from uh, both incarnate and disincarnate friends. So, and I'm being able to surpass that, to overcome that. But if I do not learn the lesson that is provided to me, then again I will have to face with similar situations, or might even be worse situations than what I had to experience before. So again, those come from our unwatchfulness. So it is, and again, I like the way he used the term unwatchfulness. So we got to be watchful. We got to watch out we got to watch out for our actions. We got to be watchful of the road ahead, so that we make better choices. There's no way for us to change the past because it's gone. The most important uh, point in my life is the present. Like the old saying goes, the past is gone. The future is a mystery to me, but the present time is the most important point in my life right now, because this is when I can act and make a difference for myself and for all those who are around me. All right, that concludes our conversation. Thank you very much for tuning in. And Cardiac Radio offers against our conversations just like this one in different social media platforms. Make sure you like it, of course, if you like it. But I know you liked it. So if you like, make sure you click on the like button and you click the subscribe button so might be notified of any future programs as well. And this moment, let's close our eyes again and thank God for the opportunity to learn. A lot of times that learning might be hurtful for us, but the most important thing is not so much the suffering, because that's just a consequence of our actions. The fundamental aspect of our experiences are the lessons that are being provided to us. Just like Emmanuel indicated in the book Our Daily Bread, it is important for us to internalize the messages. Keep those in mind. Continue being watchful so that we do not incur into the same mistakes again and have to face again the consequences of our actions. God give us strength so that we may overcome our inferior tendencies and try to make the best choices that we can in each and every moment of our lives.